Start the show, Ro. Start the show.
Welcome back to the Nerdcore Podcast, the podcast that reviews the movies and talks that nerd shit. This is episode 340, of course. And we're here to do our second producer's pick episode. And Tony better get headphones on because I was hearing myself in the back apparently. But yeah, we're here to do another producer's pick movie review. And as always, it's me, the Nerdy Chicano, with Brad. How are you doing, Brad?
Doing well, Ro. Doing well.
Yep. And we've also got with us here one of our executive producers of this podcast, the good old Tony, who is going to get headphones, and it's okay. The real nerdy dad is here. He chose 2011's A Good Old Fashioned Orgy, and we're going to be talking all about that movie today with our good old executive producer, Tony.
Woo, woo.
Now, Tony just needs to come back so we can actually introduce him. But yeah, Brad, how are you doing, bro? We just got done doing another episode.
Doing pretty good.
We're back on our grind, right?
We're back on our grind. Every time I've been on the show, we've done two. I can hear you, Tony.
I can hear you now, Tony. All right, Tony's here, the real nerdy dad, the executive producer of the show. What you doing? How you doing, bro?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Pretty good, bro. Pretty good.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's a lot better, but we want to see your beautiful face.
Oh, come on.
There we go.
There we go, man. There we go.
Go get him.
We're supposed to have Amanda and Juana here, but sadly that couldn't happen because they're a lot more busier than we are. But it's okay because we're still going to talk about this movie. And Jesus Christ, what a movie it is, right?
I mean, low expectations, but very high favor after this one.
Tony, you watch anything as of late, bro?
I just finished up with the newest episode of What We Do in the Shadows. I love that show.
I heard that's actually a very good show, but the movie was horrible.
Fuck whoever said that. That movie is amazing.
That's all I heard. Don't shoot the messenger.
They're wrong.
Okay.
I'll tell you right now. They're wrong. The show is awesome. The movie is amazing.
I'm guessing the show is produced by Taika.
Yeah. Taika and Jermaine Clement, I think his name is, the guy that was in the movie and Flight of the Conchords and stuff like that. Ooh. He was the giant crab in Moana.
All right.
Yeah.
We all hope to grow up one day to be a giant crab.
I gotta love crabs. Yeah. Great.
Maybe for you, Ro.
Yeah. So just that. Yeah. Any movies you catch as of late?
That's what I was thinking about. I watched that Extraction movie. I don't know if you've seen that on Netflix. That one was all right.
I started it with Dad, and then he had to go outside to do some work, and I was like, "All right, cool. When you come back in, we'll finish it, right?" He's starting to pack up to leave already. When he comes back in, I'm like, "Okay, well, guess we just have to this weekend to watch it."
Yeah, that's the one with Thor, right?
Yeah, that one's okay. The movie's really cliched, but the fights are really intense. I get the feeling that the director took a lot of influence from movies like The Raid, Redemption, and stuff like that. And I mean, you can definitely feel that influence.
Just watching the trailer, I got a whole lot of like the rundown feel.
Nothing like that.
Nothing like that.
No, it is. It's deadly serious.
Okay.
The one I actually watched today, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. It's called Dragged Across Concrete.
I've heard about it. Never seen
I haven't heard about it.
Yeah, that one was okay. It's from, I forget his name. He directed two other movies, Bone Tomahawk and then Brawl in Cell Block 99.
I've been wanting to watch Bone Tomahawk with Kurt Russell. That's maybe on my watch list.
Craig
that one's really good. It's super gnarly. The one thing I'll tell you is the guy has a really big affinity for like old school grindhouse movies. So when
there's gonna be a lot of blood.
Yeah, when anything gets violent, it's super gnarly. Like he does not skimp on violence. He doesn't glorify it, I don't think, but when it's violent, it's really violent. So
yeah, I'm seeing that Mel Gibson is in this one.
Yeah, Dragged Across Concrete.
Yeah.
It wasn't as good as the other two. I actually really liked Brawl in Cell Block 99. That one was super grindhouse, kind like old school 70s style, just violent. It was really awesome.
Ooh, 2
The
hours
Bone
and 39
Tomahawk is pretty
minutes.
good too. I
Yeah.
think you'd like that.
Yeah, 2 hours and 39 minutes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, the Dragged Across Concrete, you feel it. That's the biggest problem I have with this movie is
pacing.
There are moments where the director just sits on a scene and it's unnecessary. There's a character introduced and that character gets like a backstory, a little side story, all this and that, and then ultimately just unnecessary for the entire thing. Like once you watch the movie, you'll probably understand what I mean. But yeah, the director was completely up his own ass for this movie, and you can tell by its length. It was not. It did not need to be that long.
Sounds like the director was also the editor.
Yeah, he has like he's one of those artists that demands final cut.
Yep.
So.
Yep. The good old wannabe auteurs, right?
Hey, Raul, before we go on, I gotta bring this up. I really like Tony's shirt. That's a dope shirt, sir.
Yep, Amanda got it for me a while back.
Oh, nice. Yeah, badass. Yeah. What's it called? What are your? Yeah, you. So you haven't been on the show in a bit, man. We've been kind of trying to get back on track on this stuff. Yeah. What were your thoughts on the whole? Boba might be coming out.
He is, and that whole thing is
terrible.
I get why they're leaking, and they're not even leaking. They're announcing information regarding the new season, but they really should keep some things quiet. The Ahsoka thing, if they're really looking at making her own show and everything, cool. I'm fine with that. Even Bo-Katan, cool. But
not Boba
Fett, something tells me that Boba Fett isn't going to be a big character in this next season. That could have been an amazing reveal. Like, do you remember when you were watching the first episode of Mandalorian and the child shows up? Yep. You were probably thinking the same thing I was, like, holy shit.
Yeah.
How amazing would it have been if you had that same feeling when Boba Fett showed up?
Yep.
Just, whoa, what the hell? And it was the same actor, Tamar Morrison or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
How amazing would that have been?
Yeah, and why even leak it to the Hollywood Reporter? Like
that was completely unnecessary. That actually bummed me out a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, because that has been a question. Every Star Wars fan, like, did Boba live? Did Boba not? Books say he lived, but that's not technically canon. So we're all kind of stuck in the dark on it. Did he make it out of the Sarlacc? We've been sitting for years, and and I'm in my 30s, so I've been sitting on it for probably a good 20 years. Just like, I don't know, he could have, but there's people from the original, like there's some grandpas out there who just got this totally fucking ruined for them.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, like I'm sure you heard the theories that the Boba Fett we see, in Jedi or like later on in the stories in the canon, it wasn't the real Boba Fett. Like, he found the Mandalorian armor and put it on and stuff like that. Like, there was a bunch of rumors, like a bunch of nerds like myself coming up with stories like, how could he have survived? How could his story have gone on? And
Well,
I don't know, man. It's kind of a letdown to have it all just announced like
and
this.
I think even before that, everybody's like, how could such a great bounty hunter get his ass totally beat by a blind Han Solo with a stick, basically? And
they did the same thing.
I mean, you realize, everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah,
that happens.
But they did the same thing with Phasma too. I mean, when you read the books and the comics and everything, they make her out to be a badass, just like they did Boba. They made him out to be a badass, and then they just kind of unceremoniously take him out.
Well, even Darth Maul, same thing, cut in half.
But they brought Darth Maul back.
They did.
And I don't know if you watched the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars. I didn't watch any of the Clone Wars. I've never been a huge fan of that kind of animation. It really took me out of it. But the last 4 episodes of Clone Wars, you should definitely watch. It syncs up with Revenge of the Sith, and it actually makes that story better. Especially knowing Ahsoka's relationship with Anakin. I mean, there are moments where the stories just overlap completely. Like there are lines completely lifted from Revenge of the Sith. There's moments that are just heartbreaking the way they do it. Dave Filoni, I mean, he ended that perfectly. It was incredible.
Did they show Darth Maul with? I think it's the metallic spider legs. Did they show him with
that?
Rebels, I believe.
I haven't seen Rebels all the way through, and I haven't seen Clone Wars all the way through. I know he had the spider legs in like the comics. I don't know that he had them in like animation or anything, but he is in there, and he has just a robotic, like humanoid type legs. And
could you imagine the spider legs though? That would be absolutely terrifying to me.
Yeah, that would. But I mean, even I don't know. Have you seen like when he finally meets up with Obi-Wan? Did you see what happens?
The whole battle.
Don't ruin it for him.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. In Rebels, apparently, and like I said, I haven't actually watched the whole thing yet. I want to. But in Rebels, apparently his whole like motivation is trying to find Obi-Wan. And eventually he does. And the whole, I guess you could say the whole beef gets settled. But it's not the way you think. And it was actually really satisfying. But even then, 2 legs. So
this was Rebels?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rebels is when him and Obi-Wan meet up again. The last 4 episodes of Clone Wars, you should definitely watch.
I've been kind of lacking on the whole watching the animated style ones.
Yeah, me too.
And I hear they're great. So that might be something I need to check into.
The last 4 is Ahsoka and the Siege of Mandalore.
You see, I've always wanted to watch those, but just like you, that animation style kind of pushed me away from one.
It's not my favorite.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah,
it's not as bad as like because like to me in anime, I don't like that style of animation or anything.
Yeah,
it's not quite that bad, but it's pretty bad with me to where it's like a chore for me to sit down and actually watch it because for some reason it's just not appealing.
I mean they should just do all animation the style of Samurai Jack. Then I would watch it.
Yeah. Well, look, he's just like, it's like, yeah, no. Did you just hear I don't like anime? Whatever. But yeah, no, I wanted to get your thoughts. You haven't been here in a bit, so you sound a little bit like you got your allergies are acting up again. So hope you're okay.
No, I mean, yeah, here and there, but I work outside up at the plant, so.
Excuse me.
Take a shot.
Yeah. Take a shot.
Take a shot.
All right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna talk about a movie about an orgy. So let's go ahead and get into this. If you've never seen a good old-fashioned orgy, this is your time to get the hell out of here. But if you don't care about spoilers, then keep listening.
Wait. Are we talking about an orgy in real life? Because then I'm gonna have to leave. I've never seen one.
Never seen one.
I've never seen one.
Well, we did watch Eyes Wide Shut, Brad. You've seen one.
Come on, you've never been on Pornhub on the 20th page.
I said I've never seen one in real life. I never said I've never seen one. No, in real life. I've never been in the room. I've never been in the room with a rum and coke going, what the fuck?
That's fair. I've seen a lot of shit in my life. I've experienced a lot of shit in my life. I've never seen one of those either. So
it'd be like the nice guy scene where he goes to set his drink down. It's like a naked ass. He's like, whoa. Like, give him my drink back. Jesus.
Bunch of hobos had sex in your car. You know what that's called? Kitchen.
Jesus.
We're gonna get in that car. We're gonna have sex in it, okay? All right, man. So without further ado, in 5, your spoiler warning is in effect in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, man. Let's go ahead and introduce us to the movie known as A Good Old-Fashioned Orgy, Brad.
Coming from our greatest source and only source, Wikipedia, A Good Old-Fashioned Orgy is a 2011 American comedy film written and directed by Alex Gregory and Peter Hyuk. It stars Jason Sudeikis, Leslie Bibb, Lake Bell, Michelle Borth, Nick Kroll, Tyler Labine, Angela Serafian, Lindsay Sloan, Martin Starr, Lucy Punch, and Will Forte. How many people are in this fucking movie? Oh, it's an orgy. Never mind. The main plot follows Eric, who, having thrown parties at his father's house for years, decides to have one last party when the house is to be sold. An orgy. The world premiere of Good Old Fashioned Orgy was held at the 2011 Tribeca Film Festival in New York City on April 29th, 2011. The film received a limited theatrical release in the United States on September 2nd, 2011.
For a second, I thought you were going to say Cannes Film Festival. I'm like, damn, they let this show at Cannes?
No. And budget was $5 million, and it made in the box office $1.4 million.
That's a pretty penny right there.
I mean, and honestly, this film deserved more. This film deserved better.
Oh, this movie is a lot more fun than I thought it would be.
I mean, I think again, this comes to the long ass titles. Like, people don't want to go to the movie theater and say those long ass titles, especially with orgy in the name. Can I get 2 tickets to A Good Old Fashioned Orgy? Wait, fuck.
What the hell is that?
Do you know where you're at, sir?
Billy, is this what you're bringing us to?
Yeah, I heard it's good. I need tips, yo.
Yeah.
Just the tips.
Yeah, with the douche.
Yeah, I loved Justin Sudeikis in this one, man. Jason Sudeikis.
Jason Sudeikis.
Yeah, sorry, Jason Sudeikis.
Good freaking names, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I'm not the best with names. I'm good with.
You know who I was fucking surprised at in this movie? Nick Kroll. I was not expecting Nick Kroll in this movie.
Yeah, there's a bunch of comedic actors like Lake Bell too, who they went on from like movies like this and TV or whatever, and they did bigger and better things. It's pretty funny.
Yep. I like, so usually with movies like these, they don't set out to be more than they are, right? And that's what makes them fun. That's what that's what I found fun about this. It's like, if it would have been any other movie, they're like, oh, we're teasing an orgy, and orgy's never gonna happen, right? Nah, they do the orgy here, man. The orgy
and happens. I love that they actually go through that. I remember the first time I watched it, like, there's no way they're gonna fucking do it. And when they actually do it, I was like, oh shit, they actually do it.
Well, yeah, and they get to the point where you're like, oh, all of them have cold feet. They're just getting drunk and angry. And then he runs to the girl's house.
People.
Yeah, he runs to the girl's house, and she has someone over. He's like, oh, okay. And he runs back to the orgy.
Like, yeah, I'm getting back to the orgy, man.
He's like, oh, I can't because, I have feelings for this girl. He goes over there and is like, oh, well, yeah. At no point did they make it, known that, hey, we're exclusive. So she's doing her thing. Yeah. And he's just like, oh, shit. Normally you see it. Yeah, normally you see it the other way where the girl's, thinking one way and the guy's just off fucking around. And I'm not saying she was fucking around. She might have been, but I did think that was pretty funny. And
he's like, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
Just you do your thing. I'm going to go.
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure nobody ever swims in this pool again. There was a lot of sex going on in that pool.
And I don't understand that because that's not comfortable. That's
No,
not.
it
It's
really isn't.
horrible, actually.
Nah.
Yeah, one of my favorite scenes was when they go to the club, to the sex club, and they
That's
find the
my
wheelchair there.
favorite. Count me down. Count me down. Look at me when you do it.
Look in my eyes.
David Koechner is a national treasure, man. He's
And
hilarious.
And then the realtor slaps his ass the next day. It's like, sure you come
Hell
next
yeah.
day and pick a 4.
Yeah. And the fact that he continues to go there.
It's hilarious, dude. It's hilarious. Yeah, it's definitely not a movie that, like, I don't think it would really like hold up on more rewatches, but like for a first time, just messing around, you're like, huh?
Why do you say that?
I don't know, because like I guess it works more for background noise for me.
I mean, I think you gotta give it time. That way you can forget some of the jokes, because some of those jokes are pretty fucking funny.
Oh yeah, they're
It's one of those. Yeah, it's not super layered with humor, like some of those comedy movies, like Step Brothers or whatever, where you can just put it on and watch it over and over and over again. But it's definitely one where every now and then you're like, "Oh shit, that's a funny movie. Let me put that on."
Yeah. And really, again, like I said, I wasn't expecting much from this movie. It's just like going in, okay, yeah, it's gonna be a good comedy. I was really impressed. I'm like, this my expectations for it were low, but it really, really hit in a lot of places in the funny bone.
It also has some very heartwarming moments too. The ending with Nick Kroll and that girl, like that was really sweet, man. That was really nice. I thought that was handled pretty well. Like, how she has body issues, and I was like, oh, that's actually pretty sweet. Like, that's nice. I like that part of that movie. So
they're regular people. They had their own issues going into it, and they had a genuine connection, and then they had sex on top of that, which only amplified it. And from there, it felt natural in a very unnatural setting, which was pretty funny.
And some of my favorite parts was the married couple that keeps trying to break into the fucking orgy, and everybody's just like, no, just no.
Oh, they wrong Indian. Like, dude, that was
my god, that was probably some of those. Oh my! I was like, you gotta be freaking kidding me! You gotta, come on.
That was pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
When it was at their wedding, right, where he found out about the orgy. He's like, "What the fuck? You don't want to invite?" Like, dude, we're at your wedding. What are you doing?
And then the priest comes out. Like, sorry, Father. God damn it.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Father, for the word you just heard. Yeah, it's like, what the?
Yeah. And then at the reception, he tells his wife, and she just gets all fucking angry.
Same reaction.
And then when they leave, they all just bust out, and it's real laughter. They just fucking like they were breaking character. They're just laughing.
Yeah,
I 100% believe that was breaking character. They were just laughing their ass off.
Especially with someone like Will Forte, who is like a god at improv. I mean, you can only imagine how much he was breaking.
Yeah. God, Will Forte was great in this. I loved it.
Yeah.
The one who I thought was really funny too was crap, what was her name? The not the therapist chick. The one that was with the guy who wanted to become a singer, like what's it called, a musician. He never.
Angela Serafian.
Yeah, I thought she was funny as hell, dude. I thought the stuff that she was talking about, it was actually making me laugh.
Are you talking about Clementine from Westworld?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
She's pretty funny.
I love
when I saw her, I was like, holy shit, that's Clementine.
I love the scene where the therapist and her boyfriend or fiance or whatever the fuck he was, they break up for like the final last time, and she just locks herself in the bathroom with fucking Nick Kroll. And that's just one of those scenes where you can just see it happening to real people, or people, not people.
Best part about that is when he comes clean, he's like, the sad thing is I'm just peeing. He just wanted some peace and quiet and to do his little crossword puzzle or whatever. Like,
Yep.
Yeah, been there.
And
oh,
I
yeah,
ever,
I'm reading a book.
if you would have told me that Will Forte was going to end up with the therapist at the first time, I would be like, oh, you're crazy. It's not going to happen. And I was like, and then when it happens, I'm like, what the hell, man?
Not Will Forte.
Oh,
Jason Sudeikis.
Or Tyler Labine.
yeah, I'm sorry. Wrong one.
Big dude.
Oh,
Big
yeah.
dude.
Big
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
Big boy.
I keep on hitting this microphone.
When he goes to jump in the pool naked and no one else joins him.
That's about 30 minutes. About 30 minutes early.
Calm me down. What do you mean? Calm me down. Oh yeah, this movie was pretty entertaining. It was funny. It's not one I'm gonna rewatch soon. I want to give it time so that way I can forget the jokes and go back to it. But even for me, for like something like him just throwing all the signs, I found that really funny. I was like, okay, I didn't expect for him to throw that many signs out though. That was quite.
There was a shit ton of signs. It's like he does not want this house sold.
This is a good movie to introduce people to because, just like I like doing with you, I want to throw movies at you that you probably haven't seen because I watch everything, random movies here and there, and that's one thing I'm actually, I'm good at is finding like hidden gems and just hey, check this out, and this is definitely one that I'm pretty sure not a lot of people have seen.
No, and just so many actors who I don't think they had broken big yet. Yep. And then after this, their careers just skyrocket.
Yep.
Yeah, I kept seeing Nick Kroll, and I just kept hearing the voices from Big Mouth in the back of my head. I was like, yep.
And then Will Forte, I'm going Last Man on Earth.
Yeah.
Like I just want to go drink in my pool. Like not that pool though. Not that pool.
Not that pool. No, that was too much sex in that pool. But yeah, no, I kept seeing Nick Kroll, and in the back of my head, I would hear like what's he called? Not Coach Steve. What's the name of the hormone monster? The really
Maurice.
Huh?
Maurice.
Yeah. Yeah, I kept hearing that in the back of my head. I was like, this is making it even more funny, man. Yep.
Yeah,
he's a national treasure, man. I love Nick Kroll. He's hilarious.
And it's funny, I don't like him. There are things here and there that I find him funny in, like here or Sausage Party. I liked him in there. And Big Mouth, I like him in there, but he just comes across as I don't know, I have a real asshole vibe from him, and then you hear stories that he really is an asshole, and it just kind of, I don't know,
kind of turns you off.
I've never really been a big fan of his.
Mm-hmm. Well, this movie was pretty fun, and I'm gonna go ahead and go off with my score here. I give a good old fashioned Orgy a 7.5 out of 10. It's not too bad. It's not too, it's a good movie. I like to it was just a waste of time that I enjoyed, and I laughed, and that's pretty much all I can say about it.
I'll have to disagree with Raul on that. It was a waste of time.
Yeah,
and that's just coming from a movie that makes me laugh and smile like this movie does. Wasn't a waste of time. Is it the greatest comedy I ever saw? No. Is it much better than I expected? Fuck yeah. So I'm giving it the same score as Raul, 7.5. But I guarantee if I watch it again in probably a year, I'm gonna have the same laughs, and that'll probably even up the score even more. Just the fact that it can continue to make me laugh.
Yep.
I wouldn't say it's a waste of time. I'm sorry. A waste of time was The Rock. The Rock was a waste of time. I'll tell you right now.
Certain scenes, every scene where freaking Sean Connery fucks with Nicolas Cage, that was worth it. That was worth price of admission.
Back that time, I'm never getting back.
Paris.
But this movie was better than The Rock. This was monumental, better than The Rock compared to that. I'm just never this one. Yeah, it's good background
Oh,
noise.
you know Ed Harris. Ed Harris is in a lot of good movies. I just watched A Beautiful Mind. I did not realize he was in that too. That
I
man is
forgot
in
he was
like
in that.
every fucking movie.
He's
That man
slowed down
works.
recently, but like his work in Westworld is amazing.
Oh yeah, and I can't wait. Have you seen the ending of Westworld, the new season?
Come on now.
Come on, yeah.
Have I watched it?
He's the one that's all cut up. I'm the one trying to catch up here.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
okay,
remember
okay, okay.
I
Roll,
didn't
roll.
join you on a show because I was watching Westworld.
Yeah.
That's true. And then I watched it after.
Yeah.
But yeah, that ending in Westworld that's got me hyped for the next season.
Look, just give me time to finish watching it so we can actually discuss it because I've heard it's
No,
pretty good.
it kind of. I didn't really like the way they landed the plane. I loved the build up and I loved the beginning, but the way they landed it, I was not a big fan of it. Once you watch it, I would love to talk to you about it, but wasn't a big fan. There were a few things that I had issues with.
I mean, I think everybody's expecting some big twist because it's Westworld. That's usually what you get. I think a lot of people were expecting something different, and then it kind of just went as planned. That's what I got from it.
And you see, that's what's funny because to me, I kind of the way this season was, it was pretty straightforward, and I feel like they kind of did that because of a lot
Season
of
2?
people's complaints. Yeah, and see,
Season 2, I couldn't fucking follow.
I liked season 2 a lot, but man, they were up their own ass on that one. They were trying to out twist themselves from season 1, and they went overboard. And I actually really liked season 2, but season 3 it was a lot more straightforward. But even still, I was hoping they would kind of hold true to that towards the end, and it just I don't know. To me, it kind of fell apart towards the end.
I will say though, season 2 has one of my favorite episodes, the story of the Native American guy.
Kitsuya. Yep.
Yeah.
That episode had me weeping towards the end. That was a beautiful episode. And that season also has Cream in the episode where they go to Shogun World as she's performing. Oh my God, I loved that. I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, wait a minute, hold the fuck out. Like,
is this
shut up. Everybody shut up. I think I know what that is. That's Wu-Tang.
Yep.
I mean, season 3, the music, just that weekend song they played.
That was brilliant.
That was brilliant the way that was done.
Yeah. But honestly, the episode that sticks out to me is the party drug episode where it was genre or whatever.
Oh yeah, and it changed. Yeah,
that was brilliant.
Were you sitting there going, "I'd take that drug"?
Dude, that was amazing. And I want Giggles' shirt. I want his shirt.
Yeah.
Where it's just, I love that moment where he's just sitting there waiting for the explosion. It's bored. And the moment the explosion happens, it trips to amused. And he starts grinning. It's like, fuck yeah, dude. I love that.
Yeah.
Such a subtle thing, but I loved it.
I can't wait to finish the season. I need to catch up, but I will definitely talk about it when we're done with this. When we're done
Let me spoil one thing for you, Raul. At one point, Marshawn Lynch catches something.
Marshawn Lynch? You know why I'm here.
Yeah. They get Giggles to catch something. It's like, yeah, you get Marshawn Lynch, you might as well use it.
That's because Pete Carroll probably died in the season.
All right. Well, that was that. Yeah. Let's go. Hopefully I get to finish soon and we get to talk about that. Because I love Westworld. I love season 2 and I love season 1. Season 2, of course, with that the whole Kitsui episode was one of my favorites. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm glad to see though that the ending doesn't have people so mad to be making a tirade over it like Game of Thrones.
Well, that's because there's another season coming after.
Oh, true. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think it'd be a lot different if they just ended it and it'd be like, meh, Fuck
Just
I
y'all.
respect them for cutting the season short too. They didn't try and stretch it out into 10 episodes. It was
Uh,
8 episodes. Boom. They told their story and they were out.
Well, and it's much better than what they did with Game of Thrones, where they tried to compact everything into like 8 episodes, and you couldn't do it.
That's just what I was going to say. With Game of Thrones, it was kind of the opposite. There was so much story, so much that they had to actually wrap up, and they were like, "Fuck it, we're just gonna eight 8 episodes, 6 episodes," and
I really feel like
they
I
rushed it.
really feel like Game of Thrones would have felt different had they stretched that out to like a 10 or 12 episode season.
Of course
Instead of trying to compact it in 8, I think everyone would have felt better about the ending.
The
Had
last
they done
couple seasons, had they gone 10 episodes, the last couple seasons, it would have been a lot better. Maybe characters wouldn't have traveled by map. And maybe they would have been able to flesh things out. I'm not saying it would have been perfect, but like the Danny thing, anybody that was truly following it, there were signs left and right that, Danny was going to go Mad Queen. Hell,
of course.
Amanda was guessing that like in season 2 or 3.
And it's just they did it within like 1 episode.
Exactly.
And that's what pissed people off. They're like, we expected it, but it was just like, boom, she's just fucking crazy now.
And then the defense is, no, well, they seeded it here and there. Yeah, with little subtle things here or there in the last couple seasons. Had they actually
like
stretched that out. The one thing I think they did do really well was show her in mourning after her handmaid was killed. I forget her name.
Missandei.
Missandei's. Anyway, after Missandei was killed, they showed her she was torn up and everything. Maybe have that for an episode, like an entire episode or 2 or whatever, and
like 2 or 3 episodes just showing her slowly deteriorate,
pushing people away, and just and not just Missandei, other people. I mean, so many people had plot armor at the end of like the last couple seasons, the last 2 to 3 seasons. It was completely ridiculous. It kind of took me out of the show. It's like, okay, the battle beyond the wall. Nobody died. Only red shirts died. I think like 2 people died. And I was like, really? Come on now.
Yeah.
That no. And then the dragon, but which was awesome, but it just it became too convenient, and I don't know. They rushed it. That was my biggest complaint, was they rushed it.
Yeah, because I wasn't necessarily mad with how it ended, but I was more mad about, I didn't get to appreciate what these characters were going through. It just like, boom, it happened, and, that's it.
I was mad about Bran.
Yeah,
that's the one thing I will genuinely say. I hated who has a better story than Bran the Broken. Oh, I don't know. Jon, hell, Tyrion, the person talking, Sansa. Like, there's a ton of. Bran went north of the wall and then just sat by a tree for like years. And granted, he got special powers. He can look backwards in time and everything, but he became a fucking just a zombie. Like, plenty of people had
the way I kind of get by that, and the way I like to think about it, is basically Bran's stuck in his chair looking for a dragon the whole fucking time now, and then Tyrion's running things. That's kind of how I feel about it.
And let me ask you a question. In the episode, which I think is underrated, the actual battle at Winterfell, what the hell is Bran doing? There's a moment when you actually see him go into the birds, and he flies over the battle. He actually flies up to the Night King. The Night King scares him away, and he flies on. And then that was it. It's like, in my head, watching the episode, I'm thinking, okay, he's got to do something. Like, he's got these powers. He's flying away in the crows. He's gonna do something. But nope, there's absolutely no payoff.
Really, the
It
only
just
thing he did was give the knife
sit there.
away and
Yeah,
just sit there. Yeah, that was about
he
it.
sat there, and then Arya came in like a fucking badass.
Although I do love that. I love that scene.
Hmm?
Just she had been practicing and she just used it, and the Night King was totally caught off guard. It's just like, what the fuck? Although I will admit, this dude has been around for how many years? Thousands of years. Thinking he's the most powerful being, and then he's basically killed by a child.
Yep.
She wasn't a child.
It was a child.
That's true.
Maisie Williams, it looks very young. She's a tiny woman, not a child.
That's
Not a
true. That's
child.
true.
Also, faceless man or faceless
Good,
woman at that point.
that's true.
So,
Good training as well.
yeah,
Good training. Some of the
and
best
a little bit of
training
magic
ever.
of her own.
Yeah.
So, and the Night King was arrogant too. I mean, that moment when, let's face it, Jon Snow should have died when he was surrounded by all those whites that the Night King rose. Like, he should have died right there, but I mean, he actually smiled right there. Like, he was arrogant.
Yep. So yeah, no, I brought that up because I'm still seeing people cry about it on Twitter, and it's like, I'm getting so tired of that. Like,
Oh yeah, you can get me fucking going with any of these topics. You know that.
yeah, but like the way that it is online, it's just like it's constantly like. I think where you guys come from, it's very very intelligent, very structured. Where the people seem to come from, it's like, oh, they didn't follow the way I wanted my characters to come out, and that's what kind of pisses me off a bit.
I think it'd be a very, very different story if we had anything to do with the financing of the fucking show, but we don't. We're just fans. So, and we're not there directing it. We're not there writing it. So we get what we get, and then we go on from there. Did I like the prequels of Star Wars? No. But am I going to do anything about it? No.
You can. The thing that I hate nowadays is thinking that one decision or one episode or one season can ruin an entire show or whatever. It's like, dude, fuck off. You can love something. You can like something. You can absolutely love something and still criticize it.
Yeah.
You can, like, I love Game of Thrones. I really do. I love Star Wars, but I will criticize them up and down because I love them.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get me talking, I will also talk for hours on end on why I love them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll tell you why I didn't like Bran the Broken or this decision or that decision. But I'll also spend just as much time, probably more, talking about why I love them exactly. I was actually just talking to a coworker of mine about the fact that my favorite house, the house that I love learning about, is Martell.
Oh yeah.
I want to get their insignia tattooed on my leg.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love that unbowed, unbent, unbroken, man. Yeah.
I love the Martells, bro. I love Delia. I loved Pedro Pascal's character, the Red Viper, bro.
Yep.
One of the most badass people you've ever seen in that show.
One of my favorite fictional characters.
Yep, he's such a badass. I love him. He's incredible. But yeah,
he danced too much though. He should have gone for that kill shot.
Yeah, he should
have.
Again, arrogance.
Arrogance,
and honestly, his anger took him because he in that moment, you and I both know he wanted the confession, so he had the excuse to go after Tywin.
He should have just put him down.
He just wanted to humiliate him, and he wanted to get the confession, and that's it.
Because if he got that confession, he would have had it within his rights to go after Tywin.
Mm-hmm.
And without it, the politics would have gotten in the way. But with it, he would have had all of Dorne, and he would have had it.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I gotta thank Tony here coming in and talking with us about good old fashioned orgy and catching up a little bit here with us and talking about
some good topics. We need to have Tony back again.
Well, yeah, Tony has Tony has an open seat to always come on. There's a link in the.
I still very much want to have that discussion with you, and it's going to be very different than normal about PC culture infecting movies and art in general.
Well, I mean, it's what's it called? We got every now and then, every
Yeah,
now.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What?
I
Yeah.
told you the next
Yeah.
topic I have for discussion is going to be that, and because I forgot I think it might have been about this, and when you brought up
You're
the
like, what movies didn't age well?
yeah, well, yeah, when I brought that up, but you were saying something in general that actually kind of spurred me. I think it was, oh, fuck, I don't remember what it was, but I know one of the things you said was the theme of the party in this movie, which, yeah, like I get
Oh
it, the
yeah.
whole
Oh
cultural
no,
appropriation
there's
thing,
a major cultural appropriation happening here, man. You have to
but
say.
to me, the cultural appropriation in general is kind of a tricky thing. It's just you're just not allowed to do things, like you're not allowed to dress a certain way, be cut like at a certain point, and I'm not gonna dive too deep into it. At a certain point, you start dipping into the whole. I don't know if you've ever seen that horrible movie, The Animal, the one with Rob Schneider, where the
Sounds
black dude
sounds
starts
familiar.
talking about reverse racism. He's like, "Look, that white woman's gonna come over here and fill my refill up first. That's reverse racism. She's gonna treat me better than all of y'all because I'm black." And sure enough, she did. And she fills his drink up. He goes, "You see that? That's reverse racism." He's like, his buddies, white guy. Man, I wish I was black. I would have had my I would have had my French fries by now.
Well, look, I'll tell you either
That's
way.
a funny way to look at it, but at a certain point, people are people, man. You have to be understanding. PC culture cannot take away just being a person,
I
understanding and stuff. And it's
I
just,
like how Tom Segura put it. I know Tom Segura is in the news right now, like over a bunch of
oh
shit.
yeah,
But
and I love it.
I love how he put it, that you're allowed to get offended. It doesn't mean he has to do anything about it.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just
And
my
there's a very big
when I
difference
look at it,
between
it's more like you know, like I don't care if you wear a fucking sombrero or like a poncho and stuff like that, but like certain like very sacred things to the cultures, like very indigenous artifacts and things like that that are mean a lot of things. Dresses like that, don't do that if you're not from the culture, because they mean very specific things. Especially it's coming from somebody who's done a lot of research and done a lot of studies in those areas about indigenous cultures. That's when I talk about cultural appropriation. But if you wear a sombrero, I don't care. I don't care.
but and see that there's where the tricky thing is. That's the whole thing with comedy. Like Segura has said, and many other comedians have said, like you should be able to say whatever,
Yeah.
especially in comedy or something like that.
Oh, if it's
You should
about
be
comedy, free
nothing
range.
should be off topic. Nothing should be sacred in comedy. If you're trying to be funny, try and be funny. But my biggest thing is don't be lazy.
Mm-hmm.
Try and be clever. If you're just being lazy and you're saying offensive shit to try and get,
Mm-hmm.
oh, he did that. That's lazy. You're not being
Mm-hmm.
funny. You're probably just racist. If
Yes,
you're
exactly.
Yeah.
if you're at least being
Mm-hmm.
clever about it or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like me personally,
It's all
I
about
can take
delivery.
stop being so sensitive, laugh at yourself.
But
Learn to laugh at yourself.
and I bring this joke up because I think it's the perfect segue into it. Is the Gabriel Iglesias joke where he talks about getting his black friend a black gift basket.
That's the best. But I think he even talks about like other people were offended and everything, but his buddy was laughing his ass off because that
Yeah.
was something that they did with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Which is something that I always go to with Jay Washington. Jay Washington's always saying like, Don't come over here and try to protect my culture and say what
Exactly.
shouldn't be mad. Exactly. That's why I don't cross that. But with my own culture, that's where I start talking
You don't have the right to be offended for me.
for them.
You don't get to tell me what I should be offended about.
Yeah. But and also like when we're doing mini pods, we have a very little amount of time. I can't go into everything. I think to me, everything has its right to exist in the realm of art, comedy, whatever. Right? Hell, there's movies like, and I always go back to it, a Serbian film, disgusting. I will never watch that movie. It has its right to exist. I'm sorry. It has its right to exist. Those movies have the right to exist. Just like, but we also have our rights not to support stuff like that. We don't have our right to give our money to that. Well, we don't have the right to watch those things. To me, comedy, say any joke you want, whatever. As long as it's clever, as long as it's delivered well, as long as it's not terrible jokes.
Yeah.
Like you can't be saying a racist joke and then like expect everybody to laugh at it when it was just a dumb joke to begin with. It was done. It was terrible.
And the thing is that that's comedy. You also have to look at just art in general. I mean, Birth of the Nation, the
Yeah.
original. It's
Mhm.
like it's
Terrible.
horrible when you look back at it, but it is important,
Mhm.
especially now. That thing
Yeah.
should be protected. It is a piece of art, and it should be used
It
as
led
a
to
teaching
mhm.
tool.
It led to
Anything
most
like that, I truly feel like, yeah. I mean, we have the First Amendment. The First Amendment does not protect just what you like. It protects the stuff you don't want to hear too.
yeah. It's I always bring up the birth of the nation. Yes, the what's it called subject matter is terrible. But it's a very important film in the way that it's filmed, it's shot, and everything. There's important techniques with editing that we learned in film school because of that film. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
the
the
subject
message is
matter,
horrible,
match is
and
horrible. Yeah.
yeah, you should definitely learn from it. It should be taught,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's
yeah.
one of those things.
It's a thing. And like I said, what's it called? When we're doing mini pods, we have a short amount of time that we can actually
Yeah,
get into a lot of things. So I can't really, what's it called, go into it. But my stance has always been everything has its right to exist.
yep.
It's just but I have my right to not support it. Like,
I fully expect to talk more about this the next time I'm on, actually, with my topic. Like I said, this is definitely something I want to actually dive deep in. So,
mhm. Yeah, I never liked the idea of censorship in film because a lot of the greatest movements in cinema were birthed because there was somebody in the back dictating what couldn't be shown and what couldn't be said in a film.
yeah,
And I think when you limit the artistic expression of an artist, you basically are counterproductive on what art is because art should always be a mirror of what the world is. And if we
and I mean, not allowing people to grow, people to make mistakes. The whole Kevin Hart thing where he made jokes
Mhm,
10 years ago, like 10, 12 years ago,
Hmm.
that were not cool.
mhm,
He had apologized about them before, and
mhm,
still people were pissed off. Oh, cancel Kevin Hart. Dude, fuck off. That was 10 years ago.
mhm.
If I told you half the shit I did 10 years ago, like, people are people, man. Allow them to make mistakes, allow them to grow.
Yeah,
And
and
yeah,
that's
the things we do now probably aren't going to be kosher 10, 20 years from now. Like, you have to grow, you have to allow growth.
it's something that I'm constantly talking with Ashley. I don't care about your apology. It's what you're doing between that time and now. Like, you can apologize and say, I'm sorry for saying this and sorry for saying that. But the way you treat people outside of being on camera and stuff,
Yeah.
the way that you talk about, people of different ethnicities, people of different races, people of different orientations, the way that you treat them. I don't care about an apology, man. That's what you do then after that is what I care about. That's why I'm always saying like, we're quick to cancel over a tweet, a joke and stuff, but like everything that's coming after, people seeking help, people unpacking the hate that they were brought up on and actually changing from that. I think that's the more important growth. But I also do understand that it's also not my culture. I can't dictate how that culture reacts to
Yeah.
those type of things. So I understand there. I don't want to be treading grounds where I don't belong in. So it's a little bit different, but yeah, I agree with you. I think people have to grow. I think that's just how we are as humans. We have to grow and evolve. We can't always stick to the same things always. We have to change and constantly be evolving as people. Excuse me. But yeah, no, we've been going too long, and it's about time we get out of here, because I'm probably gonna watch a movie and make sure that Brad doesn't catch up to me. So we'll see.
Watch something else. Stop watching all those fucking artsy fartsy movies. Watch something fun every now and then.
I watched The Thing yesterday.
You watched what?
The Thing. That was a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
Russell, that was a fucking terrific movie.
Hey, and I heard what you said about that. Actually, do me a favor. Go and watch. There's a channel on YouTube called Good Bad Flicks. They actually do a deep dive of the Thing that came out in like 2011 with Mary Elizabeth. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee you will be fascinated with the deep dive, and you should probably just follow that channel in general, because that dude pumps out really good content. But watch that documentary that mini documentary that he does on that movie. You'll have a greater appreciation for that movie. I guarantee it.
I stopped once I realized it was the fucking 2011 version, or I think 13 or 14. I'm not sure what year it was. Yeah. Because we're supposed to watch for the Patreon the 1982 version. Yep. So I thought that thing,
the great version, yeah.
Which it's really funny because I had 7 free days of Cinemax, and the 2011 thing was on that, and now I have 7 free days of Stars, and the 1982 thing was on the Stars network.
Watch that and American Gods. Yeah. American Gods.
He's gonna be able to finish that in 7 days, though.
I mean,
he can. He can finish season 1 at the very least, and part of season 2. And if not, just read the book.
I mean, I gotta bring up. I don't watch as much artsy shit as Raul does. Mm-hmm. Like, I literally watched like 3 movies in a row of just Bert Kreischer stand up.
Fuck yeah, man. Hey, big boy.
I'm sorry that's what I find fun, okay? I'm sorry that it's what I like to watch.
And then I watched Hotel Artemis, which that was disappointing.
Hey, come on. Hey, Raul, you can go ahead and leave. Me and him are gonna have a conversation.
That movie was just disappointing based on the trailer. The cast is amazing in that, but that movie's rushed. That movie is very rushed.
There are issues. I actually really like that movie. I really do, especially like David. Really
I mean, the cast is there.
Yeah.
It's just, but like Jeff Goldblum's on screen for like 5 minutes. That's all he's on screen for.
Conversations after the stream ends, right?
That's okay.
I mean, but this is during now. We're here. Yeah. We're talking movies.
But I gotta end the stream any now and now.
I mean, do you, Ro?
Yes, I do.
We can just keep going.
This is
forever. I pitched that whole thing where me and you start our own. Yeah, I think
that might be good.
Yeah.
We just kick Roll off.
Yeah. We need to start looking into that.
I mean, StreamYard looks pretty easy to figure out.
Yeah, like if Raul's doing it, how hard can it be?
True. I mean, yeah.
Eric pitched a show to Brad to do, and Brad just goes.
Oh, you know what? We can't even bring Eric on sometimes just for the fuck of it.
Bring Eric on with me. I would love that.
How much I've been trying to do that, dude.
I gotta humble him, man. That's why I go at him so hard, because he gets so up his own ass because of his age. So I just love humbling him.
Oh, you remember when you were like in your early 20s? Like we're all assholes.
Yeah.
Like we're just getting drunk and smoking hookah and like, well, I'm so cool. And then you get your age, like these people are assholes.
Yeah.
All of you.
When I was his age, dude, I was just getting high, trying to hook up with women, and I was up my own ass, man, arrogant, and
that's every man though.
Yep.
It really is. Because when you're in your 20s, you think you're invincible.
Yeah. All right. So it's been a really fun time.
So anyway, yeah. What else do you want to talk about?
I mean, have you seen Tower Heist? I actually enjoyed that movie. It's the one with Eddie Murphy and Ben Stiller.
No, I remember that. That was actually pretty good. Him and
Let
Ben
me
Stiller.
finish this, damn it. Let me go ahead and say goodbye. Right, it's been a lot of fun here. And I want to go ahead and finally say goodbye and thank you all for tuning in on this Sunday morning when this is going to be up. But if you're a Patreon supporter, you get to watch this a little earlier. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you in the next one. Brad, send him over now. Send him out now.
Fuck you, Raul. Young Yoda out.